I just got back from work and I got the forge preheating. We're about 7:30 Celsius right now. It is a wonderful 99 degrees out in Southern California in July. Terrible weather, I hate it. But picking up where we left off yesterday, this is the, what is it, Sonobe, preform of the sword. It is still quite a bit thick back here. This is the Hamachi and the Hamune Machi, something like that. Tang is tapered down. This is tapered down, the blade in both length and width, but we're going to taper it just a little bit more because it is still too thick. And I'm going to do this on the press because that's just going to be a little bit faster. I have to be more careful because it is a 25-ton press and I can mash it all to pieces and ruin it, which you may have seen in some of the other videos, but yeah. So let's get to it. So I thought I'd give you guys a look at my newly rebuilt kiln with switching elements, dual elements really. So it uses one element that swaps either side on each successive run for low temperature below 300 Celsius, and then both elements for above 300 Celsius. And this says 40 degrees C, so that's fun. What is that, like 104 Fahrenheit? So inside, but has a cooling fan. It's all ran by a Raspberry Pi with a web interface, so I can remotely schedule runs and have everything work just peachy. So I'm pretty happy with the Sonobe and how it looks now. It's got good distal taper this way, as well as for the Tang section of it. So we're going to cut this off at a 45-degree angle, forge this up, and then start beveling this side. So, as always, my beautiful dog's head beveling hammer. 2021, 3 years old, 3 pounds. So, first things first, forge this into a spear point. If I could hold on to it, that'd be great. Spear points, continue forging it on up and around. So, now to start beveling. We're going to be doing what I believe is called a Shobu Zukuri. No Yukoke or anything like that. Alrighty, we got the bevels looking pretty good on there. Good enough to clean up with the grinder. Not my best forging work, but pretty good. We got a nice taper in there this way, and then the tang back there. Taper is not as good here, so I have to do what they call marrying the edges. So make this marry that side to give it a nice profile. Alrighty, I got it profiled and looking pretty good. Now I just need to anneal it, and then we can start on the actual grinding part. Alrighty, I got the blade heat cycled and annealed, and then I ground off most of the forged scale so I can take it over to the 2x72. Now I'm going to put this top ridge in on the spine. Can't remember what it's called though. All right, now to get the tapers nice and even on both sides, and then the flats completely flat, I have it set up in the SGA surface grinding attachment, and then I have kicked out the end just a little bit so we get that nice taper along the length of the blade, and the taper will be even on both sides. So there is one side done. Well, the blade part. I'll have to do the Nakago tang afterwards. Both sides are now done, so now it's time to work on the Nakago tang. This has to taper back the other way from this point, and then the habaki will sit about right here. So I put some 1, 2, 3 blocks in here, and then mounted the flats to the 1, 2, 3 blocks, and then clamped that on. Since this part of the blade has a taper that goes this way, that will kick the tang out, and then if I have this flat, this will get a taper in the opposite direction. All right, so we had the mune roughed in with the grinder. Now I'm going to take a file and true it up. Alrighty, so now I have layout fluid on the blade, both sides, and so this has a ridge line, a shinogi ridge line, even though it is a Shobu Zukuri, and the ridge line is supposed to be with the golden ratio. So you measure the blade, and then right there is where the ridge line should be. So we'll do that all the way down the blade, mark it out, and then grind this bevel. Alrighty, there are the lines that are laid out. And grind up to those. There is one side done. There are both sides done. Now I'm going to take this to the disc sander, make sure the flats are all flat. All right, there's the blade with all the flats ground with scratch marks parallel to the cutting edge. And we go clean it off, and then it's ready for clay. Alrighty, so here's what we were looking like before quench. The water currently at 122 Fahrenheit, and the blade is in there. It's been in there for 15 minutes at 780 Celsius. So let's do it. Last night's attempt at hardening the sword, we got a big old banana out of it, and that just won't do. So I heated it back up, I straightened it back out, and then I switched the clay that I was using. I've had trouble with the Satanite falling off before, and that is what causes that big old banana warp, was that clay fell off more on one side of the blade than the other. So that side hardened more, which caused it to warp. So I'm using the Rutland's furnace cement. I've used it before, but this stuff is pretty serious. It really insulates the blade. So you have to make sure you do it really thin on there. As you can see, it's probably under 1/8. Go with take 2. Okay guys, here we are for round 2. Water is at 119, 780. Let's do this. Looks pretty straight. I didn't feel any tings or anything, just the clay blowing off. Ooh, stressful. Okay, got the clay mostly wiped off. First impressions, looks very good. It didn't crack. Heart's still pounding. Oh my goodness. I've broken too many. I don't even know. More than 15 probably. 65 file. Uh, 65 HRC. So yeah, here, I'm gonna go put some heat on this and pull a little bit of temper so it doesn't crack after the fact, which would just be even more disappointing. Oh my goodness. I think I would cry. So for this one, I'm just gonna give the old school Japanese heat treatment for now, until I can get a proper temper on it once my kiln cools down. A little bit of water. Looks good. Alrighty guys, I have wire wheeled it. It does look a lot better. There's still this area of concern right here. I'm not sure what that's going to look like, but the discoloration of the steel just does not look too right. Other side looks really good. I'm going to grind on this bevel and then throw out some acid and check where the line is. Okay, this bad boy's been sitting in some ferric for a little bit. Oof.